Okay. Ooh, why is it so blurry? Um, so I'm here with Scottie Daigle. We're having an individual session. This is my counseling 515 course. Um, Scottie has agreed to be my volunteer patient. Um, so I wanted to start with welcoming you in here today. I'm glad that you came in for the session. I want to talk a little bit about some background history in reference to your alcohol addiction. So I guess we can start by talking about uh, uh, some information from your family, like how did you grow up? How did you get? How did all your alcoholism start?
Well, my dad was an alcoholic. Also, a lot of his brothers and his family were alcoholics. So he drank a lot. And I guess I just seeing him, I just did what he did. I thought kind of like a role model, you know.
Okay. So currently, what type of relationship do you and your father have?
It's kind of strained because, you know, I'm trying not to drink anymore and he's still drinking. So I try to get him to stop and he doesn't like that. So it puts a strain on our relationship.
Okay. And how does your mother affect, like, how was she throughout this time as you were growing up, realizing that your dad was an alcoholic? How did she respond to um, his substance abuse issues?
She really didn't say too much. Um, you know, in those days, that's how he unwinded. That was her justification. You know, he worked all day, he came home and he had some drinks, and that's how he unwinded.
Okay. And so have you, I mean, you're at this time, how has it affected your current family? Because I do understand that you do have children, correct?
I do. I have three, and they all drink a lot. I don't know if they're alcoholics, but one of them I would say yes, one of my daughters, because she drinks from morning to night. But the others drink heavily. They're heavy drinkers.
Okay. So do you feel that due to your alcohol abuse, that you affected in some way your daughter's behavior as well?
I think so because she pretty much idolizes me, puts me on a pedestal. So I think she sees me doing something and she thinks it's okay, even though I tell her it's not okay and that she needs to stop.
Okay. And how does that make you feel as a father and as a grandparent?
But it makes me angry because, I mean, she grew up seeing me doing something that I really shouldn't have been doing. You know, now once you have kids, then you realize the dangerous effect that it has on your family, and I don't want that for her.
Okay. Um, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel less of a father, and if so, in what way?
Well, yeah, it does. It makes me feel like less of a father because I feel that I didn't provide um, a quality of life for them because drinking was always more important than anything they ever did. You know, I missed softball games and sporting events, and even one of them's graduation because I was drinking.
Okay. Um, so how long has it been since you? How many years have you been an alcoholic?
Oh, probably about 20, 25 years.
Okay. And how have you sought help for your alcoholism?
I go to AA meetings. Um, you know, I have a peer buddy that helps me out. If I call him at any time, you know, he's there to listen. I come to counseling. It's and the biggest part is to accept that you're an alcoholic, and I've accepted that, and I want to get better. I want to improve myself.
Okay. So that all sounds good. So what I hear you saying is that at this point in time, you understand the issues that your alcoholism has caused. to both you and your family, and especially your children and possibly your grandchildren, if you don't discontinue your alcohol use? What goals have you set for yourself for future? Like, what do you see yourself, say, 5 years from now? We'll start with some short-term goals. Like what?
Um, Alcohol free. I'm going to work hard to stay clean and sober. Um, it's already affected my marriage. We're divorced because she couldn't put up without the alcoholism anymore. So I'm just working on myself, improving myself for my family.
Okay. If you were to have a conversation with yourself as a child, knowing what you know now, what would you say to yourself?
That it's okay not to follow what my dad did. Um, I back then as a child, you can't see the bad and the evil that it causes. As you grow older, you can. I would just try to tell myself that I don't need alcohol to live. I don't have to go down the same road that he went down.
Okay. Now, from what you told me, you are a teacher, correct?
I am.
Okay. So how does that make you feel as a teacher, knowing that you have this issue? And, teachers are supposed to be role models. And does that make you feel less of a role model? And if so, how so?
It used to, but since I've become clean, um, I think it's helped me and it's improved me in the teaching situation, because now I can stress to my students how important it is to stay clean. Um, I have the experience, so I'm able to relay those experiences on them. The importance of not becoming an alcoholic, what it's like to be an alcoholic, what it's like growing up with an alcoholic.
Okay. And as a mentor, we know that children, they want to experiment with different things, especially as they get older, etc. So if you had a student that came to you and asked you questions in reference to alcohol and or drug abuse, how open do you think you would be with that student, uh, knowing that you currently are having issues yourself? Would you feel comfortable?
I think it would depend on the student and the family, because some families don't particularly care if you share things like that with their children. I guess if the family would give me the okay, give me, say that it's okay for me to do it, I would try to mentor them into not doing it and trying to get them back on a good path.
Okay. Um, so just to kind of like turn the tide here a little bit, um, so a student has come to you and has reported to you that um, they have been around people who have used alcohol and or other drugs, but they didn't participate. What would you suggest to that student? Especially sometimes, you know how peers, they don't want to report on each other. So if they came to you and ask you, well, Mr. Daigle, what should I do? These are my friends. What would you suggest to that student do?
Well, I would tell them not to give in to peer pressure, first of all, and to read up on whatever problem that their friend's having and try to help them, try to make them see that that's not they're not on a good path, and possibly look into getting help.
Okay. So as a educator, would you feel comfortable in reporting that to the
Yes,
students'
parents,
parents?
right. Yes, I would. Most definitely. I mean, I know what I went through growing up and now even. Um, so to save a child, yes, I would most definitely be okay with talking to their parents about it.
Okay. Because, as adults and you're working with students, you are inclined to, you know, there's some confidentiality. This student came to you in confidence, and you, I guess, I guess, don't want to break the trust between you and the student. So you would be okay with reporting it?
Well, I would, when I talk to a student, I would make them understand that I couldn't promise that I can keep that confidential, especially if it's going to hurt a child. You know, if it's going to hurt their friend, then it's my job as an educator to make sure that they get the proper help.
Okay. Since we're speaking about alcoholism, you do understand like the long-term and short-term effects of alcohol abuse. What is your understanding of those issues, long and short-term?
Well, long term, I know I'll never be cured of it. I mean, I'll always be an alcoholic. I'll just have to um, work hard on not taking that drink, um, staying away from people who abuse alcohol. Uh, you know, just short term, it's like, I guess, just living my life. You know, living my life now, living my life today, and worrying about one thing at a time, taking it one step at a time, and try to make my future bright.
Okay. So on that same subject, you there are some health risks when one abuses alcohol and other drugs. What do you know, or what have you read about some of the health risk of abusing alcohol?
Well, I know drinking can cause cirrhosis, and yeah, I mean, heart problems, different things. You know, I try to stay healthy and try to get see my doctor to make sure that everything is okay. Right now, everything is okay, but you never know in the future.
Okay. So you're continuing to work on self, and you're continuing to stay motivated. Have you? Do you anticipate finding a counselor? Is the time up? Do you anticipate getting some type of sponsor representation to help you at all through this?
Yes, I am. I actually already have someone that sponsors me. Um, like I said, he's a mentor and a sponsor, and he helps me through a lot of it. If I feel that I'm about to fall off the wagon, I could always call him. He's available 24 hours a day. He'll get together with me, and we'll just sit and talk. And he pretty much talks me out of taking that drink.
Okay. How aware are you of the 12 steps?
Not very aware. I'm just starting pretty much, so I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. So good session for today. I just would ask that you continue to work on yourself. And I know that we spoke about you attending some some AA meetings. Let me know how that goes. In our next session, we can discuss how you felt about going into those meetings, because usually upon the first time someone goes, they don't know what to expect and what goes on there. So I'd be very interested in knowing how that went. So let's plan that for the next session.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
That was bad.
Oh, I hated that. I end meeting for